Hello again, guys. I'm back. There is the HL extension folder for you available for the math stuff, GDP, and the activity at the bottom of your agenda, the 2.1 math, that is for HLs only. So make sure that you are taking care of that. I will collect that as a formative. Anyway, let's talk about the business cycle quickly so you can also do the other activity that is for everyone, which is the formative on the business cycle. So economic growth is measured as a percent change in real GDP over a period of time. So growth and contractions are likely over time, but a line of potential growth should be noticeable from a long-term trend. Basically what that means is, economists look for a certain percentage of growth every year, and more often than not, it's going to be under 5%. And as a matter of fact, 5% is unbelievable in this day and age. During the recovery from the recession in 2008 to 2009, since then, over those 10 years, more than that now, I guess, 11 to 12 years, we've seen nothing but nonstop growth from that point. And that doesn't mean that we're moving rapidly, right? It's been a 2 to 3% growth the entire time. But what's been unprecedented is that we haven't seen any dip until now, any dip in that growth over that 12 years, which is, economists are like, well, when's the recession coming? Well, nobody necessarily saw a virus knocking us down, but you could say that we've erased a bunch of the growth that has already occurred as a result of the virus. But let's take a look at this graph, okay? So this is number 31, your business cycle. You've probably all seen this before, all right? So we see a nice squiggly line that goes up and down, but on a general trend, you've got your Y period, your yearly progress, so to speak, or your percentages, right? An expansion is when this thing is going up, and a contraction is when it goes down, and there are peaks and troughs, the peak being at the top of the expansion, and the trough being at the bottom of the contraction. Things that could affect this business cycle are things like unemployment and inflation. In this case, we know real GDP is probably going to be in a contraction. We might not hit a recession, but we might hit, well, actually, we're probably going to hit a recession. But we'll see how that looks exactly. But ultimately, that would be represented in contraction. In this case, natural impacts can also happen, things that just happen naturally, right? Another way to look at it quickly, real GDP actually achieved long-term growth trend on the potential GDP line. So just make sure that you understand that, when you do the potential GDP line, the basically line of best fit that goes through, you really want to see it growing, right? And if you're looking at the hashed or the dotted line of the hashed out lines, you're gonna see that it's on a generally upward trend that is not ridiculous, right? It's growing, but not at a ridiculous rate. And we know that we can look at this over years, right? If you look at the bottom of the x-axis. So just understand how this actually looks and why, when you see these types of graphs, this is something that they actually look to make sure that the country is, or any country, is on a generally positive path. One more look. Little bit of unemployment stuff in there. How it might actually look if those things are, if unemployment is being factored in. Okay. So that's it. Take a look at the activity after you get done this, okay? Thanks.